Here we go with Alexander the Great, Ignis, a fire, which ipsi vocabant, which they themselves call sacred and eternal, praeferabatur. These were in front of, pre means in front, of silver altars. So you can take that as a dative. The Magi, proximi, nearby or next, were cannabanting. They were singing songs of their homeland, of their fatherland, Patrium Carmen. The Magi in the accusative here, 365 juvenes, young men, sequabantur, they in sequence followed the Magi, velati, they were covered up with purple clothing, emulacis is a cloak or something, which are pars equal, 365 is equal in number to all the days of the year, diebus totis ni. Quipi, take that as since or for, to the Persians, or the Persians, quoque also, descriptus es, the year. They describe the year in the tot idem. The same amount, idem is the same amount of days they are as the Romans, obviously. They have 365 days in the Persian world. Dende, then or next, a chariot, sacratum, a sacred chariot of Jove, albentes equi vehebanted them. So white horses drew or carried the sacred chariot of Jupiter. Hos, in the accusative. These in the accusative, and equus in the nominative. A horse of eximious magnitude, and a special type of magnitude, a great size, which is called of the sun, sequabat or followed. So a huge horse, which is called the horse of the sun, followed. Aurea vigae, so we've got some sort of golden rods and white vests, albae vests, were adorning these controlling the horses, regentes. Horde procol, Iran, not far off there were 10 vehicles with much gold and argento, silver, chalated, chiseled out into it or engraved. Sequabator, it followed this, equitatus. We'll take that as horsemen from 12 gentiums, of 12 races or 12 nations or tribes, various arms and customs. Moribus as a customs. Proximi ibant. So next ibanted or went, those whom the Persians, vocant, call the immortals, to the tune of 10,000. Not others were more honest about it, or covered up or distinct with their koltos. Again, this would be clothing of these opulent, the opulence of the barbarians, you might want to say. So no one else was more decorated with the opulent sort of barbarian clothing. These had, or to them, to this kind of people, were golden twisted necklaces. A turquoise necklace you twist around your neck. To them, they had distinct vests, again with gold, and minicatus, that's a long sleeve, is it short sleeve? I think it's long sleeved tunics, adorned even with gemmis, with gems. In an ablative interval, exiguous, so the small interval, quos, those who are appellanted, who are called cognatos of the king, relatives of the king. These are 10 and 15,000 of men. But this crowd, haec turba, is propimodum, almost with a luxurious clothing malabrata, that's the adverb for like a woman, more than conspicuous for their decorations of arms, or whatever you might want to say, than honourable type arms that a man would use, like swords and shields or whatever. Dorofeo vocabantor agmen. So the column proximate next to these are called the Dorophore, who are solitae. They are accustomed to receive the regem vestem, the clothes of the king's clothes, These were anti-abat. These went before the currum of the king, the chariot of the king, in which Ipsi, he himself, was carried eminently. He was standing out. These Dorophore, what do we got here? There should be information on them. Pretty sure that they came out of the Immortals, and anyway, you can Google it. Utramque. It's like on both sides, there's latus for sides. Curtius is like exercetus, it's a fourth declension, like sonatus. So on both sides of the chariot were the images of the gods, the simulacra, made from gold and silver, expressed, so they're made from it, and they were decorating the sides of the chariot. Internentes, looks like shining out. There was distinguished the yogum, that's the thing that joins the horses or oxen, whatever is the yoke. Anyway, so it's shining with gems, from which were emanating two images, simulacra, images of his ancestors, something which are a cubit high, cubitalia, of which one was Ninai and the other was Belai. So these must be some famous ancestors of his. Into these, amongst these, there was a Aureum Aquilum, a golden eagle, a similem, so it was an image of it, which was sacred, with its pennas, or its wings, extended. The colt of the king, the gear he's wearing, amongst all the luxuries, was outstanding or notable. Purple tunics, intexted in the middle with white, so looks like the outsides of purple and the inside was the middle was white. His palam, his cloak was distinct. We've got some nominatives here: golden accipiters, golden hawks or whatever they are, with gold marked out his cloak, and it was as if velort, the rostris, the beaks of these birds, inter se, amongst themselves, were concurrenting. They were attacking themselves. This was adorned onto the cultus that he was wearing, the clothes. Ex zona aurea, from his golden belt, muliberata, another adverb again, in the way of a fashion of a woman. He was girt at this belt, suspended or hung from it. His scimitar, his acinacam, which to this scimitar, it came out of, or it had a gem on its scabbard. It's the vagina for the sword had a gem on it. The Persians vocabanted. The Persians called the insignia of his royal head, his tiara, they call it a sidarum. This with a blue sort of bundling or what do you call it, bandage or headband or something, was distinct, circumebat. It went around his head with a bit of white distincting it, standing out. The carum, the chariot, 10,000 of hastorums sequobated followed it. 10,000 spear bearers followed the chariot. The hastas, the spears, were ornated with argento, silver, probably on their shaft. The spicula, or the pointed bit of the spear, was prefixed with gold that they were gestabanting, that they were carrying. Dextra and leva to the king, to the right and left of the king. Firme, almost 200 of those nobles propriorum, so they're close to him by blood or relations by marriage. They commendabanted him, they were companions, they attended him. Of this column, this agmen, that was closed off by or ended with, what have we got, 30,000 foot soldiers. What have we got, 400 knights of the king or cavalry of the king. They sequobanted them, they followed them. Intervallo deinde, so then at an interval, there's the unius, one of the naughty nine, of a stadium. This is one of the Greek measurements. The Romans used miles, the Greeks used the stadium. The mother of Darius, a Curtius, a chariot was via batting her, was carrying the mother of Darius. Here's a name, Sisigambum, And in another chariot there was his conjux, his wife. A turba, a crowd of feminarums, of women, of them being companions or accompanying Reginas queens, were vectibated by horses, carried by horses. Quindecum then, so it's like 15 then, who are appellibanted the Armamaxis, sequibato. These are, I believe, it says in the lobe, an enclosed litter probably drawn by mules. Okay, so a simple word, curus, fourth declension. That's the daily dictionary. A chariot. Light horse vehicle, triumphal chariots, also wheels on a plough or a cart. There you go. Back to the plot. So in these 15 Armamaxises were the libri of the king, children of the king, and those who educated them or reared them. Anagrax, a herd of spades. These are eunuchs who have been spayed and neutered or whatever, who, sane, clearly are not vile or cheap, or probably vile to this race, these races over here in the east.